Dude, somehow everything in the NBA sphere ends up in like a Warriors civil war online. That's all I'm going to tell you. This is obviously in regards to Ben Simmons. Uh,
Has the Zion stuff trickled into Warriors Twitter yet? Has that caused a civil war amongst you guys?
yeah, I mean, obviously planning cap space to get Zion. No, no, I guess that one has it. Maybe the Ingram stuff. Every now and then when you hear Ingram murmurings, it's like, what if they trade for him? But that's about it.
That might be a good place to start too. And I'm probably taking a chance by recording this too early relative to when the season starts with you because they are one of the teams that are like tangentially linked to Ben Simmons, even if you don't consider them their most likely destination. You and Andy on light years have seemed pretty, I wouldn't say pro if you can get Ben Simmons to get him, but you seem open to the idea of Ben Simmons on the Warriors. Where do you sort of land on that stuff with his fit to Golden State and whether they should go after him insofar as they even can?
So for me, it's a question of cost. I think everyone's overthinking who he is as a player because of the high profile playoff meltdown. This team won titles with lineups that involved Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala together, giving you a combined 12 points. You know, they like, I think people on some level overrate the shooting and underrate the ball movement with the Warriors. Like the Warriors are at their absolute best when they're playing with a breakneck pace and the ball is popping around and you have no clue where it's going. And the next thing you know, Steph Curry's wide open. Next thing you know, Klay Thompson's wide open. So, yes, Ben Simmons does not shoot outside shots, but Ben Simmons absolutely is meant to play in the Warriors system. He's a phenomenal passer. And I just don't see it being nearly as big of a fit issue as people think. Like, yes, if they get stuck in a grinded out half court game, it's gonna fall on Steph creating some sort of one-on-one heroics. That already happens. That's basically always been the case for this team, except for when they had Kevin Durant. And then obviously, that was like, well, yes, if you compare Steph with the other best like one-on-one scorer in the league, they are unguardable. Like, no doubt, right? So for me, it's like his value is at a low. He fits what you want to do. Yes, you kind of have to then put a premium on everyone else on the roster being a shooter. But like, I would say it's a lot easier to find another Damian Lee or like maybe develop Moses Moody or get Otto Porter off the scrap heap than it is to find someone who can do all the things Ben Simmons does. And it just seems to me like it seems like people are overthinking this one.
Yes, and I'm not in love with the fit, but I like the way you framed it about cost because even if the Warriors give up their best offer, they just to me, and I received a lot of pushback for this. I think because you actually quote tweeted the excerpts from when I did a purposely trollable article on why your team's not going to win the title. I don't view the Warriors as having really any secondary shot creation right now.
They
There
don't.
is Jordan Poole, and he was excellent to close the season. The offense was still bad when Jordan Poole played without Steph on the floor. And so it doesn't necessarily getting Ben Simmons. No, it doesn't necessarily solve that, but it also is not exacerbating anything because that's an issue now. And so I do
It's
understand why you think it should come down to cost there.
It's also it just lets you lean into your strength. The Warriors were good defensively last year, top 5. They were not a great defense. At every crunch time metric showed when good teams wanted to get a bucket, they could. Draymond was phenomenal at kind of getting this team to have a defensive identity, but he can't make Kelly Oubre, James Wiseman, those guys like get a quote unquote stop when you need one, right? And adding someone like Ben Simmons, like that's a guy you don't have to worry about making the wrong rotation in the final 2 minutes of a game. In theory, like anyone can do it, but like he's less likely to than Wiggins or Oubre or those type of guys. He would also address the fact that like literally only 2 guys on this team can dribble. So it's just kind of, yeah, he doesn't address the fact that you'd really like someone else who you could count on to kind of get their own shot when things bog down, but he makes you better at basically every other aspect of basketball. Why not?